Anytime now. Hi, everybody who's coming in.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Monday morning. It's a great day to be the light of the world. Every day is the perfect day to be the light of the world, which is what you are. I would love if you can just post something in the chat board so I can know who's here. And thank you, Cindy Krupp. I'm going to give it over to you and let you begin. You are our party host here in the 40 days. We're on day 19 today for those of you who have started with the group. And all yours, Cindy.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Lisa, for the next 3 minutes, we're going to pretend like we're just all having coffee because we're not officially beginning, even though we're live on Facebook.
Okay. Oh, good.
Hi, everybody. And people are showing up in the chat. We don't officially begin for another 3 minutes. So I'll give everybody the secret that before I begin anything, hallelujah to you too, Nancy, before I ever begin anything, and as often as I remember, and we're not even on day 22 yet, but I take a breath, and I invite everybody to do this with me because it will change what happens over the next hour. Take a breath. I often close my eyes. I won't right now because I'm watching everything going on. And I watch myself breathe. And it's amazing. You know, you said it. Whenever we remember to ask, things happen. So I take that step back. I literally just physically ask Cindy, the one with the problems, to take that step back. And I breathe. And I invite the Holy Spirit to step forward. And I very formally, very consciously hand my voice, my eyes, my thoughts, my body, my intentions over to the holiness. And I breathe into that. I invite everybody who's listening to me right now to join me in that, remembering, our ultimate goal. We hand things over. And it feels wonderful and delicious. And I'm going to ease right in because we have about 30 seconds to this official start. And I don't know, can you see the participant list is just growing?
Yeah.
It's so much fun to just continue to welcome everybody as they show up.
For those of you who are here in the Zoom webinar, if you can post a comment here so we can see who's here with us. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. From around the world. That's awesome. And we also are going to keep our eye on the Facebook posts. So you want to post there also. And I just want to give my just abundant thanks and gratitude to Cindy Krupp, who's really the party host here, who's the one who you are so cute. As was Cindy's idea with Bill Free to have the group launch. And I also want to thank all the admins in the 40-day Facebook group who are there just giving support and inspiration and guidance. And I want to thank all of you for being here. And we're on day 19, if you've been following along since the official start date. And that means that we're halfway through, believe it or not, of our 40 days. And we're moving into the theme of healing. So today is that sickness is a defense against the truth. Yesterday was defenses or fences, and I did the drawing of really like moving from those circles. And so, good morning. It's a party in here.
We have Sandy from I'm just looking, Swaziland, Greece, various parts of the U.S., Sweden, Denmark, where else? Pennsylvania, Florida, London, New York City, Ohio, the UK, Virginia, Oliver Blue is in the house.
Oliver Blue in the house. Love that guy.
Peru.
And this is what A Course in Miracles says. It says that the teachers of God come from around the world. And to me, that's the excitement I feel, because we're points of light around the world, all of you, wherever you are. We are lighting this world up. And what I wanted to talk about today, because Cindy and I were looking at the messages together and that have been coming in on the Kajabi member area and that have been coming in the Facebook area. And one of the common ones that come in is that somehow this idea of like, it's not working, it's getting worse. I don't know how to stay centered. I know how to stay centered when I'm in the quiet, but I don't know how to stay centered in peace when I'm around my family and in the world and with my children. So that's like the common theme here. And somehow there's an idea still, and I understand it totally because I did it for a long time, is that you have to do something. Like, you think like, oh, my light's not bright enough. I'm not there yet. I have to do something. And so today actually is about do nothing. And so I just want to remind you is that in the middle of all of your confusion, in the middle of fear, anger, worry, concern, the light is shining in you. It can't be any brighter. It's the peace of God is shining in you now. It just is. It just is. You know, it's just like the sun is shining. You don't have to do anything to make it shine. It's already shining, even when the clouds are there. Even when there's thunderstorms and darkness and hurricanes, the sun is still shining. And then when the clouds pass, you see what was always there. The sun never stops shining. It just doesn't. It doesn't go away because the clouds are there. It's always there. And it's the same with us, that the light is here. The peace of God is shining in me now. And the only thing in transformation, in my experience, is awareness of it. You don't have to do anything to make the light in you be the light. You don't have to do that. All you have to do is become aware of the clouds, the darkness that you're hanging out in. That's why I always make all those illustrations of the darkness going from the place of fear and having the willingness to move, shift your perception. You're not moving your body. You don't move your body from whatever your problems are into the place of the solution. You shift your perception. You shift your, in the quiet, you allow an opening. There's like an opening that occurs, and then you can see what you couldn't see before. You can see your own innocence. You can see your brother's innocence. So I want to go through some of these questions here that you posted, Cindy. Which one should I start with first? There's a lot of addiction ones.
Yeah, but I'd like this, you know, because you started this already. There was that post, and there were a lot of comments from this woman who literally said, I'm falling behind. Should I stop and start over again? And I had a memory of how often you started your workbook lessons. I don't remember how many times. How long did it take you to get past lesson 50?
5 years.
Does that, yeah. So I'm really inspired.
I kept for 5 years. I kept thinking, I'm not getting it. And I kept saying, I must have done something wrong. And I kept circling back to lesson 1. Would just increase my dedication, increase my commitment. I'm going to be totally like, I'm going to do it right this time. And I kept getting to lesson 50, and I kept thinking, I don't understand. There's no world. I'm attacking myself. Back to lesson 1 again. I must have been doing it wrong. And finally, my Course in Miracle teacher, this beautiful guy, Jeff Mironoff, on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, where he lived, but where I lived in New York. And he didn't know I had been circling for 5 years, the first 50 lessons. And he was like, Lisa, Are you kidding me? Did you read the introduction? It says, keep going. Just keep going. And as soon as he said that, I realized, oh, yes, I'll just do the next. He goes, don't go back to 1, go to lesson 51 tomorrow. And that year was the year that changes started to occur in me, because I didn't try to make it work. And if it didn't seem understandable, I just kept going. The light that we are does the work. But we keep thinking I'm not doing it right. So thank you, Cindy, for bringing that up. And that's why I always just say, keep going. Don't go back. Just if you think it's not working, I assure you it is. It is. And anybody who's taken the 40-day, I mean, many people who have gone on to take Living in Purpose, they go back and look at the 40-day beginners, and they can remember that they were in that same place. And then they're saying, oh my God, like I used to think that way, that I was never going to arrive. And so just trust that it's working. And
Just to be clear, for
Yep.
those, that's the answer to I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah,
What about those people who feel like they're behind, who maybe are only on day 10 or day
there's
12?
there's no behind. The 40-day normally is a program that people can start when they're ready. So this just happens to be a group journey that we do a couple of times a year. So wherever you are, if you started late, if you're on day 3 today or day 10, just stay there. Don't try to stay with the group. Stay in your circle, and just, you know, we're going to keep the member area open for longer than the 40 days. We're not going to shut it down straight away. So don't worry. It's not going to disappear. So if you're behind, but this is the work that Jesus did in the desert. Like it's like staying centered in the quiet place. And I know when you're doing a group thing online or a course online, there can be a tendency to be like, I want to do it right. I want to be a good student. Don't forget about all of that. This 40-day program was designed for each and every one of you to have a direct experience for yourself. That's the whole point of it. That not for you to read other people's stories and to say, oh, well, it happened to Lisa. No, I want you to see that you have all power in you to change your perception every moment. Whatever seems to be happening, you have the power to be quiet in stillness. Bill always does, hand on the heart, like we were laughing. We were looking at all of his videos yesterday, and in the still shot, he's always got his hand on his heart. But that's it. Like, we're taking all the swirling energies of the world, of our thinking, because we can get lost in them. Social media, the news, even me. I read the New York Times. I have a subscription to it. It's the only news I look at, but it's all the news there is. And sometimes I read things and I'm like, oh boy, bring it back. Like, because I can get lost in it. It can grab you so quickly to think, is that really happening? Did that just happen? Like, and the mind then just goes, yes, it did. And oh my God. And so to begin to realize I'm a miracle worker, that is not the proper use of my mind to get sucked down into the stories and the news. Bring it back. Let me be still a moment. Let me close my eyes, whatever it takes. Breathe. Okay. Because then if there's something I need to do in the world, then I'm not doing it from a place of that conflicted state. It's now it can come from a place of peace and joy and just there's an extension that happens. So I'm not getting sucked down into all that chaos. So it's the Course in Miracles, and I always do encourage, you don't need it for the 40-day program, but I always do encourage it to get a copy. If you like the 40 days in this work, I've been suggesting, I didn't use this one for the 40-day when I made it, but this came out since I did the 40-day, and this is from the Circle of Atonement. It's the original manuscript, and it's a mind training. If you're really feeling a call to dedicate your mind to being a miracle worker and a healer and a light, and you want that foundation to keep that shift in place, it's a very good mind training. So I just want to say that.
And then, so Lisa, I know this relates to one of the questions when we're talking about negative responses and high emotion and low emotion. Chuck just, and hi, Chuck, we know Chuck. Chuck just wrote, I am trusting now that it is working because resistance has grown. Mind getting foggy and spinning, chest pressure growing, falling asleep when not tired. We've also been talking, you and I were talking about this comment about some people are having a lot of fear, a lot of high emotion, days of crying, and it's really something that you wanted to address here and now, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly, in A Course in Miracles, Jesus tells us that there's going to be a period of disorientation. So you can expect it. That's why I had everyone sign the commitment letter at the beginning, because when you say yes to transformation, like, and this is just my own language of how it's been for me, but like the thought system starts to, the old thought system starts to shift and move and change as it's dismantling, as this new thought system starts becoming your thought system. And for a moment, it's like all those emotions that we stuff down, fear, anger, worry, the separation beliefs, the body identity, image beliefs, they start moving. And so you can feel like you're in this storm of emotions. And like, there was one here that someone got so afraid that they unsubscribed from the 40-day, and that's fine. That's totally fine. But it's like when you feel that intense fear, right back here again, like you just go, oh my God, I'm so afraid. And like last night, Bill and I watched this awesome movie about, it was called A Prayer for Anya. It's a true story about this shepherd in Germany in 1943, I believe. And they were hiding 7 children and a grown man, the Jews, from being captured for 2 years. They imagine the intense fear of that. You know, like the German soldiers were right there in the town, looking everywhere for anybody who was hiding, and you would be killed. But it's like in that intense fear, it's like you bring yourself back. Like, you don't have to run away from it and hide anymore. You just go, okay, let me be still in the middle of this intense, intense fear. And then the movement comes. Then it's a beautiful movie. Just and totally transformative, you know, like what happens. But that is the place where the transformation happens. And where most people run away is in the fear. It's that point where you're like, this is just too much, I can't handle it. And you rush back into your old thought system. So that's why I had everyone print that commitment letter. Like if you keep forgetting, I suggest you print it, post it, read it, keep it by your bedside, post it on the refrigerator, post it on a wall, put it on your desk, put it somewhere where you're like, I am going to finish this thing. I'm going to the end. Because I want to just ask this question. Who's tired of fear being in control? Just post it in the chat board. Like, if you're tired of fear being the boss of you and your emotions of anger, worry, concern, judgment, grief, loneliness, right. I was tired of it too. Like, I was like, oh my God, I totally have been letting all of those emotions drive me. I was a slave to my emotions and my thoughts. They told me what to do and I did them. And there comes this moment of sanity where you realize you're not the boss of me. Like, this thought I'm having, you are not the boss of me. And in the same way you train a dog, you train your thoughts and emotions to stay in place. And they don't have to go away. You think they can be there. In that movie last night, those guards with guns were there for 2 years. And it's not like, oh, I'll be, you know, doing my function when they go away. They were there. And that little boy and his grandfather and everybody who was involved had to find that place of peace in the place of fear. And that's what this world is right now. That's the opportunity and the calling that's happening right now. It's such a great thing, Cindy, that you had the thought to do the 40-day right now as a group, because there's 2,600 people here in this 40-day right now. I am blown away. 2,600 people around the globe who all say, I want to know myself. I want to emerge from conflict. I don't know how to get there. All I know is I am ready for something new. So I just want to express my gratitude to all of you here.
And okay, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that moves right into something else that was on the list of things to discuss, right? Because the energy is different this time. I can feel what happens, Jesus, the statement is when two or more gathers, there's almost 3,000 people that said yes to this. And so it's working. We can tell from the comments that it's working in a way that's different. And the opportunity for worldwide shift through what we're doing here is very real. And you were going to talk about that.
Well, yeah, because the first part of the transformation where everybody gets stuck in for years and years and years is like trying to transform and trying to see it physically. Like there's still an old model that says, well, I'm not there yet because my body's still sick. I still experience fear. I still don't have any money. I still this, I still that. They still this, they still that. So that's the ego trick. The ego trick is like, you're not ready yet because you're just not there yet. But you'll know when you're there. Your body will be healed. The cancer will be gone. You'll have loads of money flowing in. That's an ego game. This is the immediacy of taking your place as the light of the world, as realizing your true self, your true identity in light, in love, in joy, in grace, in gratitude, in peace, in presence, as love's presence. Is that you're like, that's why the circle with Jesus is so important. Is like, you're going, I don't need to wait for the body to be healed. I don't need to wait for the world to change. I don't need to wait for coronavirus to disappear. Throughout the history of time, my entire lifetime, there's been viruses since day one. Chickenpox, flu, this, that. There's never been a time there's not been a virus. And if it's not a virus, something else. Someone else is doing something. So there's never, and if you look at any individual who's had an enlightened experience throughout time, they all were here in the middle of conflict and fighting. They imagine if they said, oh, well, I'll extend peace when everybody's getting along. No, we're here because there's conflict. That's what we're here for. So the second part the first part is the transformation, and you literally just claim it. You can claim it on this day. I accept the truth of what I am, the light I am. I accept my innocence. I accept my brilliance. I accept my oneness, not the body, the I am. I am healed. I am whole. And it doesn't matter if you don't understand what that means. And then the second part is where you stop blocking the light from flowing. That's the gift. That's what A Course in Miracles calls the plan of God. It says the teachers of God are called to remember the truth and then be here in the world, but not of it, not blocking this light anymore. So all you have to do is look around in the world right now and see how many people are sick, suffering, in sorrow, afraid, lonely, sad, in terror, in fear. So this is a call. It's a call for healers and miracle workers and the presence of you. You call it whatever you want. You don't have to call it to be a healer or a miracle worker, and you don't have to do anything. You don't have to go out there and help people. You just have to remember. And this light is radiating so strong, the light of joy, that it radiates throughout the whole, just us being together right now on this call and in this group. Anytime you are in this place, in that quiet joy, that joy is radiating throughout every mind, because minds are joined. So I can go off on a tangent, right? Okay, reel it in, bring it back in, Cindy.
Yeah, well, there were a couple more things on that list, but there's also questions in Facebook, there's questions in the chat, there's questions in the QA. So
let's
do you want to take some of these live questions?
Yep.
There's one in Facebook right now that I think relates to anyone who's kind of feeling stuck in a significant way. Karen writes, good morning. I am in agreement with ACIM. I can't get through the pain of my son dying recently. Any suggestions? I appreciate your support. There's another person here who is not understanding how to deal with watching the news and the rapes and the murders and the intensity.
Well, let's do the first one first, because that's a good one. And there was another one here that was similar. What was the first one? The pain. How do I
can't get through the pain of my son dying recently. Any suggestions? I appreciate your support.
Okay. Yes, thank you. And blessings to you. And that's a big one, right? Like, then that's exactly what's happening right now, is that people are dying. They are passing from the world. And that there is a sense of loss. Like that's like, oh my God, like, and you can't go back. Like, you can't bring him back in physical form. And so this is the place where the practice now is like, okay, and to allow yourself to go through it. Like, don't try to be happy. Don't try to be anything other than where you are. Just to be able to be in the awareness of all that activity. And you will begin to have a sense of your son with you. You begin to feel this love. You feel like, oh, like, and I acknowledge that when somebody passes from physical form, it's hard. That's a hard one, because we want them here. We need them to be in the body, to feel their love and to talk to them. But you begin to get a sense of, like, in the quiet, there he is. Here he is, right here. He's here. And you can feel like, no, he's not here. He's gone. And I do want to acknowledge that. But this is the practice where you begin to have that experience of no one dies. You begin to, but you have to go beyond all of those emotions for a moment to just say, okay, let me be still. Let me enter into that quiet space. And you ask the question, how do I get beyond the pain? And the way you get beyond the pain is not to try to make it go away. Like, you don't try to get beyond it. That's um, my experience. Just be okay with it. Just say, okay, I'm in pain, and then just allow, accept, and then you realize I'm okay. Like, okay, I'm okay. And that's the most that I can say in that moment is, and it's, yeah. You're experiencing what everyone's experiencing here in that form.
If it's okay, Lisa, I'm just inspired to just add that the one thing that's coming up for me is to replace the word can't with I don't know how, but I'm willing.
That's a good one. Exactly. Yeah.
There is a question that you've addressed a couple times, not in this 40-day, but when we are talking about healing and we are not a body, where does healthy eating and exercise fit in? These are important to me and something I do every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just want to also go back to that one too, if I can. It's here. And that's this is a good one, because I can't the body identity, but that's the shift in perception. I can't. And that's why we all get frustrated, because we recognize our own limitation as this image. But when you shift over into your true self, your one self, where everything lives, you realize, oh, it's that shift's already accomplished. It's like, oh, that's how that works. So I wanted to say that, but that's exactly like what you said, Cindy, is like to move to catch the language when we say I can't, I should, I can, I won't. It's just like, no. Hold on a second. I'm not powerless. I'm not a victim. I'm not weak. And that mind will have you believe you are. And to just shift it for a moment. So, so the next question you said?
When we are talking about healing and we are not a body, where does healthy eating and exercise fit in? These are important to me and something I do every day.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think with the healthy eating and the exercise, if you love it, keep doing it. Just that's whatever feels good. Just but just know that you're not a body, so whatever you love to do, whatever you're doing, but what happens in the world is people get stuck on good and bad. Like, there's good foods and there's bad foods, and that it's supporting the body. No, it's that those are beliefs. And so you can start to just acknowledge, okay, and I totally agree. Like, I don't want to be heavy, but so that I follow the laws of the world, just to not overeat, like to just do things that are like, I don't really feel I've been heavy and it's not comfortable for me. And for a long time I was like, oh, I'm not a body, I am free. And this heavy body was just like heavy. And then I was like, all right, for a moment, I'm just going to like stay in awareness and not eat two big mountains of plates of food. That's what I was doing. I was unconscious. And that's like moving into these addiction questions we're getting, is that I had been dieting and thinking there's good and bad food since I was 10 years old. That's over 40 years now. And I really believed it. I really believed there's good and bad foods, and there's nutritious foods, and there's But it was my thought system. And so when I started the healing came for me when I decided to love myself. I'm going to stay in awareness. I'm going to stay conscious and awake. I'm just going to stay. I wasn't awake when I was eating 2 huge plates of food, shoveling. And so in awareness, you're like, I'm not really needing this extra plate. I'm not really needing double portions here. Like, I'm not really needing. And then you start to notice, I don't even like this. I don't like this kind of food. It doesn't taste good. So it's not a rule. It wasn't like, oh, this is good or this is bad. It was like, I don't really want this donut. Seriously, I would eat a donut, which I used to like. And I'm like, it's not very good. Like, it's not what I remembered. And then I would think, oh, I know how to make something way better than this. That's totally delicious. And so it's these ones about.
Well, Lisa, before you leave this, because I'm laughing over here because you really are not very good at promoting yourself. Because if I remember, I gave it away, so I don't have it in front of me. You wrote a book on this subject that just got released last year. So you want to tell anybody about your book, just in case?
I totally forget. It's called The Yum Factor. I don't even know if I have a copy. I think I just saw a copy the other day. Let's see. Yeah, that's funny. I don't know where oh, here it is. You're hilarious. The Yum Factor. I wrote this book last year with a friend of mine, Janine Barone. She's a exercise physiologist and a nutritionist. It's called The Yum Factor, Changing Your Attitude Towards Food and Fitness. There we are. And that's on Amazon. Thank you so much. I need somebody. I always forget to like promote things.
I just thought that was funny because you literally wrote that book to answer that question. So, are you ready for the next question?
Well, I just want to say, while we're on the topic here of these addiction ones, so there's an addiction contract, which is just additional and extra in the 40-day, and two people signed it, and they've both been continuing to reach their addiction, and both are beating themselves up over it. So that's where love, like these old habits, some of them they are ingrained, so you just can start to love yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Just that's the thing that needs healing, is like I'm bad because I'm smoking still. I'm bad because I'm this. I'm bad. No, just be gentle with yourself, and just stay in awareness. Like, took me 5 years to stop drinking. Like, my alcoholism and cigarette smoking went in a day, literally in an instant, but it didn't. It took 5 years. Like, and that might seem like a weird thing to say, but for 5 years, I kept just thinking, I don't want to drink alcohol. I really kept thinking, I don't want to wake up drunk. I don't want to, I mean, you have no idea, everyone, how many nights I slept on the cold tile floor in my bathroom in Park Slope, Brooklyn, because I was so drunk and so sick that I needed to be near the toilet. So I would sleep on the floor. And I was 30s still. I mean, I had a Course in Miracles even. I started smoking cigarettes again when I was like 28. I had quit at 20, and then I picked it up again. And so there was something in me that kept saying, I don't like smoking. I don't like drinking alcohol. I don't like being hungover. I don't like the feeling of like being unconscious. But I couldn't stop until one moment, boom, it just disappeared 20 years ago. It's just, I have not once thought of having a drink of liquor or or a cigarette. It's not, so it's, but that's where it's like, you just have to just trust in the process. You're so cute, Cindy.
I'm still laughing over the fact that you forgot you wrote the book.
You know, I have a book.
Cynthia, hi Cynthia, all these people that are becoming my friends. She's a brand new course student, and I think she just got her book, and she's just asking, what do I do? Do I start with a workbook lesson? Do I start reading the text? And so I figured I'd.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you're in the 40-day program, I mean, everyone's free to do whatever they want, but my suggestion is finish the 40-day. Just if you haven't done it yet, just allow yourself to go through the 40-day, not adding something else into it. And then everyone has a different way of how you should do the Course in Miracles. So I actually don't really want to give my suggestion. And I definitely have a suggestion, but it only worked for me. Some people say do the text and do the workbook. Some people say do the workbook and do the text while you're doing the workbook. Some people read the manual for teachers first. With this brand new book, there's 33 amazing essays in here in the back called cameos. Some people would read those first. So I just think get a copy of the book. And then in that quiet space, really find out like what you're to do with it.
This just came up on Facebook, and so I'm laughing because the Young Factor is not a self-help book, but Janet does write, in some sessions you refer to running to another self-help book. So why did you write one?
Why did I write this?
Yeah, and I guess my quick answer is if you read it, you'll know that it's not a self-help book.
Well, the reason why, what's interesting is that when, how do I say it? When you're not blocking anymore, this intelligence and this light just does stuff through you. It uses your hands, it uses your mouth, it uses your feet, you become a communication device for whatever it wants to come through, and you don't block it anymore. And so this woman, she's not a Course in Miracles teacher, student at all, not at all. She's a dear friend of mine. She worked in the publishing office that I worked in New York City. I started working there in 1992. And she was the nutritionist for this health and wellness newsletter and books. That was the publishing office. And so she's watched me for 25 years struggling with food. She's seen me through every diet. She's seen me through everything. And she's never struggled with food, and she eats everything. She has no food rules, none. And I always was like, how do you do it? What do you do? So for about 3 years, Janine and I had phone conversations. We didn't plan on writing a book at all. She was just kind of helping me. And at a certain point, she recognized, or maybe it wasn't 3 years, it was a long time though, that I did not want to change. I was not changing my mind. I was not changing at all. And she said to me, I am not working with you anymore. You don't want to change. And I freaked out. That's when I was like, I do. I want to change. And that's when I started listening to what she was saying to me. And that's when I started following the suggestions she was giving. And these are the notes. So it just happens, it wasn't like a decision to write a book, really. It was just kind of came naturally out of a process that we have been working with.
All right, another question? You want another question? They're coming at me from all directions, so I'm pulling this up. So Carolyn says, this is my first time with the 40 days, and the punishing God for my childhood keeps coming up. How can I be rid of this false God once and for all and choose a loving God?
Yeah, and it's the same thing with the pain question that came up earlier, is you can't get rid of it. Don't try to get rid of it. Don't, just stay open. Stay open. Just practice these, just to show up every day for these 40-day lessons. Try them out. Just see how it feels. Because the thing that I always wanted with the 40-day program is that people have a direct experience of God directly, not based on what you learned, not based on what I say, I don't have a background with a God like that, really. I mean, a little, but not heavily. And so I was free to have God reveal God. And now I know God isn't even God. God is myself, our one self, the light that we are. God isn't anything I thought. God is this love that we all are. We're all connected in this love. And that came not because I read it anywhere, but because actually it does happen because you have companions on the path. Like a lot of what came to me in the recent um, realizations did come from my husband, Bill Free. Like what he was going through, his own process, and really coming back to awareness. And I was like, awareness, what is that? And so that's where, like, you'll on the path is like, you'll see people who are walking it with you, and you can hear things from them, and you can try it out and see if it works for you. And if it doesn't, discard it. And if it does, great, share it with others. If it doesn't matter. But that would be my suggestion. Don't fight, don't resist, don't try to change, don't try to make that God go away. Just stay open.
And I'm just going to read a couple of these comments because there's about 55 people on Facebook, because you were talking about your mighty companions. And Michelle wrote, I fired my old God and embraced the loving God. It was like a reset. And Mary wrote, what helped me with an angry God was a Richard Rohr quote.
Yeah.
God doesn't love me because I'm so good. He loves me because he's so good.
Yeah, I love Richard Rohr.
And Shelley just writes, God is the love in which I forgive myself. Mm-hmm. And she's referring to a song written by our own Nada Boyne.
Nada Boyne. Yeah, it's a workbook. Yes. God is the love in which I forgive is a workbook lesson from A Course in Miracles. But our beautiful friend Nada Boyne has written a song about it. And I also want to just I will promote, is there's going to be another online conference September 18, 19, and 20. It's totally free. And it's about being love's presence. And you can find out, I'm going to guess it's on the Teachers of God Foundation website. I'm not sure exactly. I'll put it on my website, lisanatoli.com, but it's on Pure Presence Productions website. I'll have to find out. I'm not sure exactly. Oh, there it is. Okay. There's a link here. It just got put up there. Yeah, so you can sign up and it's free. And I also just want to say this one too, because I hear this one a lot, is, hi Lisa, thank you so much. Today I felt like I nearly got it, but then I remembered that I had been diagnosed with MDS. It was as though my brain screamed. I think I do accept it, or do I say that it is not present in my body? This is what keeps coming up in a matter of what I do. So yeah, that's the shift in perception. So you're not so it's like any pain you're experiencing, any symptoms, any physical body things, don't try to change them, and stay with whatever protocol you've been following with your doctor, your diet. This isn't about changing the protocol, but to shift your awareness or perception to away from the body to the light, to the truth. And the light doesn't need healing. The light that you are never was sick. It's to be able to say, okay, I can do that. Like I can, and I understand this totally because I had physical symptoms for like 6 or 7 years. And I kept thinking, I must be doing something wrong. I must, there's something I'm missing. And it was my husband, Bill Free, who was the one that says, just to accept and allow, like to just not, don't worry about that. Just stay here in the presence, in love's presence. That's what this conference is all about. Like, it's just to stay in the truth of my identity as innocence, as light, as love, as joy. And the ego mind was like, you can't do that till the body's healed. No, we're almost there, almost there. Just try this one more diet. Gluten-free is it. Just one more thing. Just Lisa, don't do that. Don't go to the truth of what you are. Just try sugar-free. Don't eat any sugar. Don't just let's juice fast. That's it. Juice fast. Just you almost there. Oh my God, you're so close, so close. I think you can almost touch it. And finally it was like, oh my God. I am not going to try to heal symptoms for 1 more minute. I had already spent 6 or 7 years in total confusion. And I'm like, nope, I'm going to be the light of the world. That's it. I am just moving here. And that's it. That's my commitment. And you realize that nothing can stop you. Like MDS, I don't even know what that is, but that can't stop you. That has no power over you as the light that you are. There's not a single thing anybody can present to me. Some people say, well, I can't walk. I'm like, you're talking to me right now. There must be life in you. People present me all sorts of scenarios. Well, yours isn't as bad as mine. I can't, blah, blah. I'm blind. I can't talk. I can't this, I can't that. It doesn't matter. The light is shining in you now. And so that's where you take your power back. You acknowledge the power and the presence that you are.
It's crazy that we've been talking for 50 minutes.
I know.
Should I just go ahead?
I was just going to say, just an overview of week 2. Of the next week. Do you want to share anything?
No, there's a whole bunch of questions, but I think if, the
Take
summary.
Question.
I'm just going to read what's right in front of me from Sherry. You said be in love with everyone. I love that. Curiosity. What does that look like? How to? Is it an internal experience for me, or how I behave externally or express to peeps? Or seems like a good place. What does it look like to be in love with everyone? What was that? Her name is Sherry Joy, which I love. She said, you said to be in love with everyone. I love that. And then the curiosity, the question is, what does that look like? And how do I do that?
Again, you don't do it. I think that's the biggest part for me in my journey is because all of us here in the spiritual community are who have that curiosity of spiritual things. We're huge givers, right? And that's a block. That can really be a block because we think, well, I have to go love everyone. It's a doing, but that's not a doing. It's love is when you start to connect with the love that you are, you're just naturally going to love. it's not a doing. I don't do anything. I don't, like even now, I'm really getting a sense of like not posting so much on Facebook and not sending emails out so much anymore. I don't know what that is. I've been doing literally sending emails since 2004 and blogging. And I blogged every day from 2004 till 2010, every day. I didn't miss a day. And so I was always like, I'm just being the light of the world. I'm just giving inspiration. I'm encouraging people. I'm supporting people. I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. And now there's just beingness. There's like, I'm not feeling so much to post anymore on Facebook. I'm not, and that was a fear point for a while because I was like, oh, if I don't post on Facebook, then what? Like, I'm so used to being Lisa Natoli who inspires people. If I don't do that, who am I? And it's like, well, find out. Find out. Stop posting. Stop doing what you've been doing. And that's where it's like, oh, and then who knows what happens next? Like people invite me to come and talk. I'm like, okay, I'll come. So, but that's where like it's to be able to just go through this process. I would suggest just do the 40-day program, keep going. Don't worry about how you're going to love everyone. It's not about loving everyone in bodies. It's about being the love, being love's presence. Come to the conference on September 18, 19, and 20. Feel free. You'll crush it. Yes, Marianne Williamson will be there. And just an incredible panel of 30 teachers. Also, Karen Drucker will be there. Karen Drucker got invited because of Alan Cohen. Alan Cohen will be there. And Alan Cohen said to Bill, you got to invite Karen Drucker. And so if you guys don't know the musician Karen Drucker, Nader Boyne will be there again. Oliver Blue in the house. He'll be there with Yolanda. Just many Course in Miracle teachers, non-duality teachers. So that's a month from now.
Very good. Well, Lisa, I think we've come to a close.
We've come to a close. I love all the comments. And I think the one thing I just want to close with is like one of the things I've always been aware of as a teacher, as a guide, I don't want people to depend on me. I want you to know what it is to listen within to your own inner guidance. And what I see in the Facebook group and in the Kajabi member area brings me so much joy because I'm seeing that each and every one of you is doing what I've been doing for years. And now you're doing it. The same presence is now coming through so many different voices. And like I said, I made a decision to not be in that Facebook group for a reason. I did that deliberately because I don't want people to depend on me. And so what I'm seeing is each of you is coming into your own power. Like I'm reading your comments, I'm there, I'm reading what you guys are posting, I'm reading what is being posted underneath. And I'm like, oh my God, we're all allowing this one presence to come through us. Like I'm not even needed anymore. Like it's an incredible thing that we're all like now doing what I had been doing, and you're all doing it naturally. And to be walking this path together, that's what we're here to do. And then you will start extending it outside of the private Facebook group into your Facebook group or your mailing list or into the world where you are, out to the supermarket, out wherever you go. So I love you all. And today's a good day to be the light of the world. Thank you, Cindy, so much. You are a
Love
joy.
everyone.
Love you.
See you soon. And we're out of here. Bye-bye.